this whole issue of ISIS, ISIL, Daesh, whatever you want to call it, is such a repeat of bin Laden, and yet so many people in the United States, particularly on the right, don't seem to understand what's going on. You have a small group of crazy people. I mean, they're not literally crazy people, but they're brutal, vicious. Their leadership is almost certainly sociopathic. You have a small group of crazy people who want to be recognized by the world as big and important. Because if the world will recognize them as big and important, then marginalized people around the world, people who feel like they got a raw deal, that they haven't been treated well, that their life isn't going the way it should, those people will then say, you know, maybe I ought to throw in with these guys. This is their recruiting strategy, to say, you know, we're the true defenders of Islam. We're the true defenders of this territory. We're the ones who are fighting against the corruption of Western modernity, etc. And nobody takes them seriously unless we take them seriously. So after 9/11, had George W. Bush said, you know, there's fewer than 5,000 of these criminals in Afghanistan who are associated with this bunch. And we have a pretty good idea where they are, and we're going to get the police agencies of the world together, and we're going to find them, and we're going to bring them to trial like we did at Nuremberg, and we're going to try them. And, you know, we'll see where it goes from there. We would have had the whole world with us. And Al-Qaeda would not have grown, and it wouldn't have would not have metastasized into ISIL, into Daesh. And now you've got Daesh doing the same thing that bin Laden was doing. He's like, you know, bin Laden was like this nobody, right? I mean, he kept trying to get our attention. He kept trying to prove to the world what a big deal. He blew up the USS Cole, and he, you know, this, that, and the other thing. Oh, look at me, I'm a tough guy. Look at these things. I can kill a couple soldiers. And we were like, you know, the Clinton administration was like, yeah, okay, so you're a tough guy, you're a criminal. We're going to kill you. And Bill Clinton threw 3 cruise missiles into bin Laden's training camp in Afghanistan, missed him by 30 minutes. And the idiots in the Republican side went on the floor of the House of Representatives and ridiculed Bill Clinton in 1998 for trying to kill Osama bin Laden, saying that he was trying to wag the dog to distract America from the real important issue, which was that Bill Clinton was getting it on with Monica Lewinsky. That was the really important issue. And so when Clinton tried to take out bin Laden, you had, you know, Newt Gingrich, who was having an affair. You had Bob Livingston, who was having an affair. You had Bob, what's his name, from Georgia, who was having an affair. Bob Barr, thank you. You had, you know, it's virtually all of these guys who were prosecuting Bill Clinton for having an affair were themselves having affairs while they were prosecuting him. But his having an affair was far more important than trying to take out bin Laden. In fact, let's ridicule him for that. And then Bush comes into office, and the CIA and the NSA are screaming at him. There's going to be a spectacular attack in the United States. And Bush goes, I'm going on vacation. No, we need to have a principals meeting. We need to get together the NSA and the CIA. All this stuff is coming out like this week. If you notice it, Politico did this amazing story on it a couple days ago. And Bush is like, nah, I don't care. It's astonishing. And then he lets 9/11 happen, and then he uses it to not only inflate himself, because Bush, you'll recall, in early 2001 was by and large being viewed by most Americans as an illegitimate president. Word was leaking out that the newspapers were actually counting the Florida vote. And it was looking like Al Gore was going to win by any standard: hanging chads, dimpled chads, pimpled chad, pregnant chad, no chad, not a voter, not a any standard. It turns out if you count every vote in Florida, and this was reported in November of 2001, if you count every vote in Florida, Al Gore won the election. And people pretty much knew that. You know, George Bush George Bush was a deserter. So he really needed credibility. Bush needed something. And he got it with 9/11. He got to be that wartime president. I can be a tough guy. And look at how it's devastated the United States, it's devastated the world. Look at the damage that it's done to all of us. Because he took credibility, but in taking credibility himself, I'll be the guy who fights this. I'll be Superman against the Lex Luthor of Osama bin Laden. By doing that, he turned Osama bin Laden into a larger-than-life figure, into this mythic figure who could defy the president of the United States and slip through his fingers at Tora Bora, which caused a lot of disaffected Muslims and people who felt like they'd been screwed. They got a bad deal, from Palestinians to people in the rest of the Middle East who don't particularly like their particular dictatorship wherever they happen to live. Turn them into say, hey, maybe this Al Qaeda thing has got something going. So then comes along Daesh, ISIS, the Islamic State, and they're trying to get credibility. They've actually conquered some land, and they want to say to the world, hey, we're a real country. Pay attention to us. Take us seriously. We're not just a bunch of crazy criminals. And Nicolas Sarkozy says, yeah, we're going to war with them. In order to go to war with somebody, you got to have a country. He's giving them what they want. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't be, bombing the bejesus out of their headquarters and taking out their people and, and going after them with all the intelligence we have and all the resources that we have. Certainly we should do that. But the rhetoric is really important here. When Republicans talk about Daesh as if it's some sort of existential threat to the United States, they are doing the heavy lifting that ISIL wants. They're doing they are doing exactly what ISIL wants. And the president came out yesterday and basically tried to say to the Republicans, please stop. You're helping them. When we say, oh, these guys, they're bigger than life, they're super powerful, they're incredibly brutal, they're monsters, you make them big. And people who feel small want to go say, oh, yeah, I want to have meaning in my life. I'm going to go fight for the Islamic State. Instead, we should be regarding them as failures. These are people who've got nothing. They got nothing but brutality. Nobody wants them. They have to force themselves on communities. They're corrupt. They're criminal. Why can't we deal with it like that? I mean, we can, but but the rhetoric is everything. And thank God that President Obama is president right now, and he gets this. And he will not say we are going to war with radical Islam, because that means we're going to war with some part of Islam. And that's not what we're doing. We're going to war with a bunch of crazy criminals. And it's not even a war. We're taking these, we're taking these guys. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.